The Path of Non-Resistance. Flowing with Life's Challenges. Written and published by MSC Boost. Chapter 1. Understanding the concept of non-resistance. We are all faced with obstacles, setbacks, and difficult emotions that can leave us feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or disconnected from our deeper sense of purpose and joy. Yet within each of us lies a profound capacity for resilience, wisdom, and transformation, a way of relating to life's ups and downs with greater ease, grace, and flow. This is the path of non-resistance, a way of being that invites us to meet the fullness of our experience with an open and courageous heart, to find peace and purpose in the midst of life's inevitable challenges and changes. Through the practices of mindfulness, self-compassion, acceptance, and authentic communication, we can learn to navigate life's complexities with greater skill and ease, tapping into our inherent creativity, wisdom, and strength. As we embrace this way of being, we naturally begin to experience greater joy, connection, and fulfillment in all areas of our lives, not by avoiding or denying life's difficulties, but by learning to dance with them with courage, curiosity, and an open heart. Non-resistance, at its essence, is a philosophy that encourages individuals to flow with life's challenges rather than fighting against them. This concept has roots in various spiritual and philosophical traditions, such as Taoism, Buddhism, and Stoicism. By practicing non-resistance, we can learn to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease, reducing our suffering and increasing our overall well-being. When we resist the challenges that life presents us, we often create more stress and suffering for ourselves. Resistance can manifest in many forms, such as complaining, worrying, or trying to control situations that are beyond our influence. These actions not only drain our energy, but also prevent us from seeing the potential opportunities for growth and learning that challenges can offer. Practicing non-resistance does not mean becoming passive or allowing others to take advantage of us. Instead, it involves accepting the reality of a situation, acknowledging our emotions, and then choosing to respond in a way that aligns with our values and goals. Non-resistance is an active process that requires self-awareness, mindfulness, and the willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. One of the key benefits of practicing non-resistance is reduced stress and anxiety. When we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we create space for peace and contentment. We learn to trust in our ability to handle whatever challenges come our way, knowing that we have the resilience and resourcefulness to overcome them. Non-resistance also allows us to develop a more positive outlook on life. By reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, we can approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness. This shift in perspective can lead to greater creativity, innovation, and personal development. Many individuals throughout history have embraced the concept of non-resistance and have used it to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. Mahatma Gandhi, for example, used non-violent resistance to fight against British rule in India. He believed that by meeting oppression with compassion and understanding, he could create lasting change without resorting to violence or aggression. Nelson Mandela is another example of someone who practiced non-resistance in the face of adversity. Despite being imprisoned for 27 years for his activism against apartheid in South Africa, Mandela refused to let anger and resentment consume him. Instead, he used his time in prison to develop his mind and spirit, emerging as a leader who could guide his country towards reconciliation and healing. In our daily lives, practicing non-resistance can take many forms. It might involve accepting a difficult situation at work, rather than complaining or trying to force a change. It could mean letting go of a grudge against a family member, choosing instead to approach the relationship with compassion and understanding. Or it might involve embracing a challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than resisting it out of fear or discomfort. Incorporating non-resistance into our lives requires a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and to approach life with a sense of openness and flexibility. It means letting go of our attachment to a particular outcome and trusting that by flowing with life's challenges, we will ultimately arrive at a place of greater peace and fulfillment. By understanding the concept of non-resistance and its potential benefits, we can begin to cultivate a more resilient and adaptable approach to life's challenges. In the following chapters, we will explore practical strategies for developing mindfulness, emotional resilience, acceptance, and compassion, all essential skills for practicing non-resistance in our daily lives. With dedication and practice, we can learn to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease, finding joy and growth in even the most difficult of circumstances. Chapter 2. Cultivating Self-Awareness and Mindfulness. Self-awareness and mindfulness are essential components of practicing non-resistance. When we develop a deep understanding of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we can more easily recognize when we are resisting life's challenges and make a conscious choice to respond differently. Mindfulness, the practice of being present and fully engaged in the current moment, allows us to observe our experiences without judgment, creating space for acceptance and non-resistance. Cultivating self-awareness begins with taking the time to reflect on our inner experiences. This can involve regularly checking in with ourselves throughout the day, noting our thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. We might ask ourselves questions such as, "What am I feeling right now?" or "What thoughts are running through my mind?" By bringing our attention to these inner experiences, we can start to recognize patterns and triggers that may be contributing to our resistance. Journaling is a powerful tool for developing self-awareness. Taking time each day to write about our experiences, thoughts, and emotions can help us gain clarity and insight into our inner world. When we put our thoughts and feelings down on paper, we can often see them more objectively, which can help us identify areas where we may be resisting or struggling. Mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing can also help cultivate self-awareness. These practices involve focusing our attention on the present moment, whether it be our breath, bodily sensations, or the sounds and sights around us. By training our minds to be present, we can develop a greater capacity for observing our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. When practicing mindfulness, set aside dedicated time each day for these practices. Start with just a few minutes of meditation or deep breathing, and gradually increase the duration as you become more comfortable. You can also incorporate mindfulness into your daily activities, such as eating, walking, or doing household chores. The key is to bring your full attention to the activity at hand, observing your experiences without judgment. As we develop greater self-awareness and mindfulness, we can start to recognize when we are resisting life's challenges. This resistance might manifest as tension in our bodies, racing thoughts, or difficult emotions such as anger or fear. When we notice these signs of resistance, we can take a step back and observe them with curiosity and compassion. Rather than getting caught up in our resistance, we can choose to respond with acceptance and non-resistance. This might involve taking a deep breath, acknowledging our difficult emotions, and then choosing to let them go. It could also mean reframing our perspective on the situation, looking for opportunities for growth and learning rather than focusing on the negative. Self-compassion is an essential component of practicing non-resistance. When we encounter challenges or make mistakes, we may be tempted to criticize or judge ourselves harshly. However, this self-criticism only serves to increase our resistance and suffering. Instead, we can choose to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, recognizing that everyone struggles and makes mistakes at times. Developing self-awareness and mindfulness is an ongoing process that requires patience and persistence. Like any skill, it takes time and practice to cultivate these qualities. But with dedication and commitment, we can develop a greater capacity for observing our inner experiences, responding to life's challenges with acceptance and non-resistance. The benefits of cultivating self-awareness and mindfulness extend far beyond the practice of non-resistance. These qualities can improve our relationships, increase our resilience in the face of stress and adversity, and enhance our overall well-being. By taking the time to understand ourselves more deeply and live more fully in the present moment, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Incorporating self-awareness and mindfulness practices into our daily routines can help us build these qualities over time. Make a commitment to setting aside dedicated time each day for reflection, journaling, or meditation. Look for opportunities to bring mindfulness to your daily activities, whether it be savoring a meal or taking a mindful walk in nature. With consistent practice, self-awareness and mindfulness will become more natural and effortless, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. Chapter 3. Reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Life inevitably presents us with various challenges, whether they be personal, professional, or relational. Our natural instinct may be to resist these challenges, viewing them as obstacles that hinder our progress or cause us discomfort. However, by shifting our perspective and reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, we can approach them with a more positive and productive mindset. Reframing involves looking at a situation from a different angle, finding the potential benefits or lessons that can be gained from the experience. When faced with a challenge, take a step back and ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Or, how can this experience help me grow and develop? By focusing on the potential for growth, we can transform our relationship with challenges, seeing them not as threats, but as chances to expand our skills, knowledge, and resilience. This shift in perspective can be particularly helpful when dealing with setbacks or failures. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but by reframing these experiences as learning opportunities, we can maintain a sense of motivation and purpose. Reflect on what you can take away from the setback. Perhaps there are areas where you can improve your skills or approach, or maybe the experience has shown you what doesn't work, guiding you towards a better path forward. Reframing can also help us find meaning and purpose in the challenges we face. When going through a difficult time, it can be helpful to consider how the experience might be serving a greater good or contributing to our personal development. For example, a challenging work project might be an opportunity to develop new skills or demonstrate our value to the company. A difficult conversation with a loved one could be a chance to deepen our understanding and strengthen the relationship. To practice reframing, make a habit of reflecting on your challenges and looking for the growth opportunities within them. You might start a journal where you write about your experiences and the lessons you've learned. You could also discuss your challenges with a trusted friend or mentor, getting their perspective on how the situation could be reframed in a more positive light. It can also be helpful to look for examples of individuals who have successfully reframed their challenges into opportunities for growth. Many successful business leaders, for instance, have stories of setbacks and failures that ultimately led them to greater success. By studying these examples, we can gain inspiration and practical strategies for reframing our own challenges. Oprah Winfrey, for example, faced numerous challenges throughout her life, including poverty, racism, and sexual abuse. However, she reframed these experiences as opportunities to develop her strength, resilience, and empathy. She has used her platform to inspire and empower others, turning her challenges into a source of positive impact in the world. Similarly, author J.K. Rowling faced numerous rejections when trying to publish her first Harry Potter novel. Instead of getting discouraged, she used the rejections as motivation to improve her writing and persist in her efforts. Her determination ultimately paid off, leading to one of the most successful book series of all time. Reframing challenges as opportunities for growth requires a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace discomfort. Growth often involves stretching ourselves beyond what feels familiar and easy, and this can be intimidating. However, by viewing discomfort as a sign that we are expanding and developing, we can learn to welcome it as a necessary part of the growth process. Practicing non-resistance is key to reframing challenges effectively. When we resist our challenges, we often get stuck in negative thought patterns and emotions, making it difficult to see the potential for growth. By accepting the reality of the situation and focusing on what we can control, we can create space for new perspectives and possibilities to emerge. Ultimately, reframing challenges as opportunities for growth is a powerful tool for cultivating resilience, adaptability, and a growth mindset. By shifting our perspective and embracing the lessons and possibilities within our challenges, we can transform even the most difficult experiences into sources of personal and professional development. With practice and persistence, this skill can become a natural part of our approach to life, allowing us to meet challenges with courage, curiosity, and a commitment to ongoing growth and learning. Chapter 4. Developing emotional resilience. Emotions play a significant role in our ability to practice non-resistance and navigate life's challenges with grace and ease. When we encounter difficult situations, it's natural to experience a range of emotions, from fear and anger to sadness and frustration. However, if we allow these emotions to control our reactions, we may find ourselves resisting the reality of the situation, creating additional stress and suffering. Developing emotional resilience, the ability to effectively manage and regulate our emotional responses, is crucial for practicing non-resistance and maintaining our well-being in the face of adversity. The first step in developing emotional resilience is to cultivate awareness of our emotional states. Many of us go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without fully acknowledging or understanding our emotions. By bringing mindful attention to our feelings, we can start to recognize patterns and triggers, gaining insight into how our emotions influence our thoughts and behaviors. This awareness is the foundation for effective emotional regulation. One powerful tool for cultivating emotional awareness is the practice of naming and taming our emotions. When we experience a strong emotional reaction, take a moment to pause and identify the specific emotion you are feeling. Are you feeling angry, scared, sad, or something else entirely? By naming the emotion, we create a bit of distance between ourselves and the feeling, allowing us to observe it with greater objectivity. Then, take a few deep breaths, acknowledging the emotion without judgment. This simple act of naming and taming can help us feel more in control of our emotional experience, reducing the intensity of the feeling and allowing us to respond with greater clarity and intention. Another key aspect of emotional resilience is learning to reframe our thoughts about challenging situations. Our thoughts have a powerful influence on our emotional states, and by shifting our thinking patterns, we can often change our emotional responses. When faced with a difficult situation, take a step back and examine your thoughts. Are you engaging in catastrophic thinking, assuming the worst-case scenario? Are you blaming yourself or others for the situation? By recognizing these negative thought patterns, we can consciously choose to reframe our perspective, looking for alternative explanations or solutions. Self-care is also essential for developing emotional resilience. When we are stressed or overwhelmed, it's easy to neglect our basic needs, such as getting enough sleep, eating well, and engaging in activities that bring us joy and relaxation. However, these self-care practices are crucial for maintaining our emotional well-being and resilience. Make a commitment to prioritizing self-care, even in the midst of challenging times. This might involve setting aside time each day for exercise, meditation, or a hobby you enjoy. It could also mean reaching out for support from friends, family, or a mental health professional when needed. Developing a growth mindset is another powerful strategy for building emotional resilience. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and traits are not fixed, but can be developed and strengthened through effort and learning. When we approach challenges with a growth mindset, we are more likely to view setbacks as opportunities for learning and development, rather than as failures or threats to our self-worth. Cultivating a growth mindset involves embracing challenges, persisting in the face of obstacles, and viewing effort as the path to mastery. Practicing self-compassion is also key to developing emotional resilience. When we are going through a tough time, it's easy to be hard on ourselves, engaging in self-criticism and negative self-talk. However, This only serves to compound our emotional distress. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness, care, and understanding that we would extend to a good friend. When you are struggling, try speaking to yourself with gentleness and understanding, acknowledging that everyone goes through difficult times and that you are doing your best. Emotional resilience is not about avoiding or suppressing difficult emotions, but rather about developing the skills and strategies to effectively manage and regulate them. This process requires ongoing practice and commitment, as well as a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and confront our emotional experiences head-on. However, the benefits of emotional resilience are well worth the effort. By cultivating this inner strength, we can face life's challenges with greater courage, adaptability, and equanimity, maintaining our sense of well-being and purpose even in the face of adversity. Practical tools for building emotional resilience include mindfulness practices such as deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and meditation. These practices help to calm the nervous system, reducing stress and anxiety, and promoting a greater sense of inner peace and stability. Journaling can also be a valuable tool for processing emotions and gaining insight into our thought patterns and behaviors. By regularly taking time to reflect on our experiences and emotions, we can develop greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Emotional resilience is not a fixed trait, but rather a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. With dedication and practice, we can learn to navigate even the most challenging of emotions with greater ease and grace. By cultivating this inner resource, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of freedom, flexibility, and adaptability in the face of life's ups and downs. Emotional resilience is the foundation of a life lived with non-resistance, allowing us to flow with the inevitable challenges and changes that come our way. Chapter 5. Cultivating acceptance and letting go. Acceptance and the art of letting go are essential components of practicing non-resistance. When we cling tightly to our desires, expectations, and the illusion of control, we create tension and struggle within ourselves. Learning to accept the reality of our present circumstances and to release our attachment to specific outcomes can be incredibly liberating, allowing us to flow with life's challenges and uncertainties with greater ease and grace. Acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. Rather, it is an active choice to acknowledge and make peace with what is, even if it is not what we would have chosen or preferred. When we find ourselves in difficult or challenging situations, our natural response may be to resist or fight against the reality of what is happening. We may engage in wishful thinking, telling ourselves that things should be different, or we may try to force our desired outcome through sheer will and effort. However, this resistance only serves to create additional stress and suffering, as we exhaust ourselves mentally and emotionally fighting against something that we cannot change. The practice of acceptance invites us to soften our resistance and to open ourselves up to the truth of the present moment, exactly as it is. This can be a challenging practice, especially when we are faced with situations that are painful, frightening, or outside of our comfort zone. However, by consciously choosing to accept reality, we create space for greater peace, clarity, and effective action. A powerful tool for cultivating acceptance is the practice of mindfulness. When we bring our full attention to the present moment, without judgment or resistance, we allow ourselves to see things more clearly and objectively. We may notice that our resistance is often fueled by our thoughts and interpretations about the situation, rather than the reality itself. By simply observing our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them, we can start to create some distance and perspective. Accepting reality does not mean that we must like or approve of what is happening. It is natural to feel a range of emotions in response to life's challenges, from sadness and anger to fear and frustration. The practice of acceptance includes making space for these difficult emotions, acknowledging them without judgment, and allowing them to move through us without getting stuck or overwhelmed by them. In addition to accepting our present circumstances, the art of letting go is also key to practicing non-resistance. Letting go involves releasing our attachment to specific outcomes or results, recognizing that much of what happens in life is beyond our control. When we cling tightly to our desires and expectations, we often create unnecessary suffering for ourselves as we struggle against the natural flow of life. Letting go can be particularly challenging when it comes to our relationships and interpersonal conflicts. We may have a clear idea of how we want the other person to behave or respond, and when they do not meet our expectations, we may feel frustrated, hurt, or resentful. However, by holding on to these expectations and trying to control the other person's behavior, we only create more tension and disconnection. The practice of letting go invites us to release our grip on these expectations and attachments, and to open ourselves up to the possibility of a different outcome. This does not mean that we must abandon our desires or boundaries altogether, but rather that we hold them more lightly, with a willingness to adapt and adjust as needed. Letting go also applies to our relationship with the past and the future. Many of us carry around regrets, guilt, or resentment about past events, replaying them over and over in our minds and wishing that things had turned out differently. Similarly, we may spend a great deal of time worrying about the future, trying to anticipate and control every possible outcome. Both of these tendencies take us out of the present moment and create unnecessary stress and anxiety. The practice of letting go invites us to make peace with the past, recognizing that we cannot change what has already happened. It also encourages us to release our attachment to a specific future outcome, recognizing that much of what lies ahead is uncertain and unpredictable. By letting go of our need to control and manipulate every aspect of our lives, we create space for greater spontaneity, creativity, and flow. Cultivating acceptance and letting go is a lifelong practice that requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. Making a commitment to these practices, even in small ways, can have a profound impact on our ability to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and ease. Some practical ways to cultivate acceptance and letting go include practicing mindfulness meditation, which helps to develop our ability to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Engaging in regular self-reflection and journaling, which can help us to process our experiences and gain greater insight and perspective. Seeking out supportive relationships and communities, where we can share our struggles and receive guidance and encouragement. Challenging our limiting beliefs and assumptions, and exposing ourselves to new ideas and perspectives that expand our understanding of what is possible. Engaging in practices that promote relaxation and stress relief, such as deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or yoga. Learning to embrace uncertainty and change, recognizing that life is inherently unpredictable, and that our ability to adapt and flow with these changes is essential to our well-being. Ultimately, the practices of acceptance and letting go are about developing a more harmonious and peaceful relationship with ourselves, others, and the world around us. When we are able to release our resistance and attachment, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of freedom, resilience, and equanimity. We learn to trust in our own inner resources and in the inherent wisdom of the universe, knowing that we have the strength and capacity to handle whatever challenges come our way. Acceptance and letting go are not one-time events, but rather ongoing practices that require commitment and dedication. Like any skill or habit, they become easier and more natural with repetition and time. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you navigate this process, remembering that every moment offers a new opportunity to begin again and to choose a different way of relating to your experience. With practice and perseverance, the art of acceptance and letting go can become a transformative force in our lives, allowing us to meet life's challenges with greater courage, resilience, and grace. As we learn to flow with the inevitable ups and downs of existence, we discover a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and connection, both within ourselves and with the world around us. Chapter 6. Nurturing compassion and empathy. Compassion and empathy are essential qualities for practicing non-resistance and navigating life's challenges with grace and resilience. When we cultivate a deep sense of compassion for ourselves and others, we are better able to meet difficult situations with understanding, patience, and wisdom. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, allows us to connect with others on a deeper level and to respond to their needs with kindness and care. At the heart of compassion and empathy is the recognition of our common humanity. Regardless of our individual differences and unique life circumstances, we all share the basic human desires for happiness, safety, and belonging. We all experience joy and sorrow, success and failure, love and loss. By acknowledging this fundamental interconnectedness, we can begin to see others not as separate or alien, but as fellow travelers on the path of life. Cultivating compassion for oneself is a crucial starting point for developing compassion for others. Many of us are quick to extend kindness and understanding to those around us, but struggle to offer the same level of care and concern to ourselves. We may be harshly self-critical, holding ourselves to impossibly high standards, and berating ourselves for even minor missteps or imperfections. The practice of self-compassion invites us to treat ourselves with the same kindness, care, and understanding that we would extend to a good friend. When we are struggling or feeling inadequate, we can learn to speak to ourselves with gentleness and encouragement, reminding ourselves that everyone makes mistakes and experiences difficulties at times. We can learn to offer ourselves the same level of forgiveness, patience, and support that we would offer to someone we love. One powerful way to cultivate self-compassion is through the practice of loving kindness meditation. This involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill and compassion towards oneself, such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease." Over time, this practice can help to soften our inner critic and to develop a more nurturing and supportive relationship with ourselves. As we deepen our capacity for self-compassion, we naturally begin to extend this same level of care and concern to others. We recognize that everyone is fighting their own battles, facing their own unique set of challenges and struggles. By approaching others with empathy and understanding, we create a safe and supportive space for authentic connection and healing. The practice of empathy involves actively listening to others, seeking to understand their perspective and experience without judgment or criticism. This can be challenging, especially when we disagree with someone or find their behavior frustrating or hurtful. However, by making a conscious effort to step into the other person's shoes and to see the situation through their eyes, we open ourselves up to greater insight, compassion, and wisdom. Empathy does not mean that we must agree with or condone every action or belief of another person. Rather, it is about acknowledging the underlying humanity and suffering that drives their behavior, and responding with compassion and skillful action. Sometimes, the most compassionate response may involve setting clear boundaries or speaking up against harmful or unjust behavior, while still holding the other person's basic goodness and potential for change. Cultivating compassion and empathy is a lifelong practice that requires ongoing effort and commitment. Like any skill, it is strengthened through regular practice and repetition. There are many simple ways to incorporate compassion and empathy into our daily lives, such as taking a few moments each day to silently offer compassion and goodwill to ourselves and others, through loving kindness meditation or simple phrases of care and concern. Practicing active listening and seeking to understand others' perspectives, even when we disagree or feel triggered by their words or actions. Engaging in acts of kindness and generosity towards others, whether it be through volunteering, offering a listening ear, or simply smiling at a stranger. Reflecting on our own experiences of suffering and challenge, and using these as a basis for empathizing with others who may be going through similar struggles. Cultivating a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings and opportunities in our lives, and using this as a foundation for extending compassion to those who may be less fortunate. The benefits of cultivating compassion and empathy are far-reaching and profound. Not only do these qualities allow us to form deeper, and more meaningful connections with others. But they also have a powerful impact on our own mental and emotional well-being. Studies have shown that people who regularly practice compassion and empathy tend to have lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, and higher levels of happiness, resilience, and overall life satisfaction. Moreover, by approaching challenges and conflicts with compassion and empathy, we are better able to find creative and collaborative solutions that benefit everyone involved. When we are able to see beyond our own limited perspective and to consider the needs and concerns of others, we open ourselves up to a wider range of possibilities and opportunities for growth and positive change. Nurturing compassion and empathy is an essential aspect of practicing non-resistance and living a life of greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment. As we deepen our capacity to connect with and care for ourselves and others, we naturally begin to flow with life's challenges with greater ease and grace. We recognize that even in the midst of difficulty and struggle, there is always the potential for understanding, healing, and transformation. The practice of non-resistance is not about avoiding or denying the reality of suffering and challenge, but rather about meeting these experiences with an open and compassionate heart. By cultivating compassion and empathy, we develop the inner resources and resilience needed to navigate life's ups and downs with courage, wisdom, and grace. We learn to see ourselves and others through the lens of our shared humanity, recognizing that we are all in this together, all worthy of love, respect, and care. Compassion and empathy are not a luxury or a sign of weakness, but rather a source of great strength and power. When we are able to tap into the deep well of compassion and empathy within ourselves, we access a profound sense of connection, purpose, and meaning that can sustain us through even the darkest of times. We become a force for healing and positive change in the world, inspiring others through our own example of kindness, understanding, and love. Chapter 7. Navigating relationships with non-resistance. Relationships are a fundamental part of the human experience, providing us with opportunities for connection, growth, and fulfillment. However, they can also be a source of great challenge and conflict, testing our ability to practice non-resistance in the face of interpersonal difficulties. Whether it be with romantic partners, family members, friends, or colleagues, learning to navigate relationships with a spirit of non-resistance can help us to build deeper, more authentic connections and to find greater peace and harmony in our interactions with others. The foundation of non-resistant relationships is a deep commitment to self-awareness and personal responsibility. When conflicts or challenges arise in our relationships, it can be tempting to focus on the other person's behavior or to blame them for our own discomfort or unhappiness. However, this approach only serves to create more tension and disconnection, as we give away our power and agency to external circumstances. Instead, the practice of non-resistance invites us to turn our attention inward, to examine our own thoughts, feelings, and reactions to the situation at hand. By taking responsibility for our own experience and choosing to respond with intention and care, we create space for greater understanding, empathy, and collaboration in our relationships. This does not mean that we must accept or condone hurtful or abusive behavior from others. Non-resistance is not about being a doormat or sacrificing our own needs and boundaries for the sake of avoiding conflict. Rather, it is about approaching challenges in our relationships with a spirit of curiosity, openness, and compassion, while still honoring our own truth and values. When navigating difficult conversations or conflicts with others, the practice of nonviolent communication can be a powerful tool for maintaining non-resistance. Developed by psychologist Marshall Rosenberg, nonviolent communication is a framework for expressing ourselves honestly and empathetically, while also listening deeply to the needs and experiences of others. The key principles of nonviolent communication include observing without judgment. When discussing a challenging situation, focus on describing the facts of what happened, without adding interpretations or evaluations. Identifying and expressing feelings. Take responsibility for your own emotions by using I statements to express how you feel, without blaming or criticizing the other person. Connecting feelings to needs. Look beneath your emotions to identify the underlying needs or values that are driving them, such as a need for safety, respect, or connection. Making requests. Clearly and specifically ask for what you need in order to feel heard and understood, while also being open to the other person's perspective and needs. By practicing nonviolent communication in our relationships, we create a safe and respectful space for dialogue and collaboration. We learn to express ourselves with authenticity and care, while also deeply listening to and honoring the experiences of others. This approach can help to de-escalate conflicts, build trust and understanding, and find mutually beneficial solutions to challenges. In addition to nonviolent communication, the practice of forgiveness and letting go is also essential for maintaining non-resistance in our relationships. When we hold on to grudges, resentments, or unresolved hurts from the past, we create a sense of emotional baggage and tension that can weigh down our current interactions and experiences. Forgiveness does not mean condoning hurtful behavior or forgetting the impact it had on us. Rather, it is a conscious choice to release the pain and suffering associated with the past, in order to create space for healing, growth, and new possibilities in the present. It is an act of self-compassion and self-care, as we free ourselves from the burden of carrying around old wounds and grievances. The practice of forgiveness often begins with a willingness to acknowledge and validate our own pain and anger, without judgment or self-criticism. We must first offer ourselves the compassion and understanding that we seek to extend to others. From this place of self-acceptance, we can then begin to explore the possibility of forgiveness, of releasing the past and choosing to move forward with an open and undefended heart. This process may involve setting clear boundaries or making difficult decisions about the future of certain relationships. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation or continuing to engage with someone who has caused us harm. Sometimes, the most compassionate and non-resistant choice may be to let go of a relationship that is no longer serving our growth and well-being, while still holding the other person with understanding and care. Ultimately, the practice of non-resistance in relationships is about cultivating a sense of inner peace and resilience that allows us to show up with authenticity, compassion, and care in all of our interactions. When we are able to meet challenges and conflicts with an open and undefended heart, we create space for deeper connection, understanding, and growth both for ourselves and for those around us. This is not always an easy path, and it requires ongoing commitment, practice, and self-reflection. We may stumble and fall back into old patterns of resistance and reactivity at times, especially in the face of deep hurt or frustration. However, by continually returning to the principles of non-resistance, and by offering ourselves and others compassion and understanding along the way, we can slowly but surely build a foundation of more peaceful, authentic, and fulfilling relationships. Some practical ways to incorporate non-resistance into our relationships include practicing mindfulness and self-awareness in our interactions, noticing when we are getting triggered or reactive, and choosing to respond with intention and care, making time for regular check-ins and honest communication with our loved ones, creating space to express our needs, feelings, and concerns with openness and vulnerability, seeking to understand and empathize with others' perspectives and experiences, even when we disagree or feel hurt by their actions, setting clear and compassionate boundaries around our time, energy, and emotional well-being, while also being willing to adapt and compromise when needed. Cultivating a spirit of curiosity, playfulness, and lightheartedness in our relationships, finding joy and connection even in the midst of challenges and differences. By approaching our relationships with a spirit of non-resistance, we open ourselves up to a world of greater connection, understanding, and growth. We learn to meet the inevitable challenges and conflicts of human interaction with grace, resilience, and compassion, while also honoring our own needs and boundaries along the way. In doing so, we create a ripple effect of greater peace and harmony in all of our interactions, inspiring others to meet us with the same level of openness, authenticity, and care. Chapter 8. Integrating non-resistance into daily life. As we have explored throughout this book, the practice of non-resistance is a powerful tool for navigating life's challenges with greater ease, resilience, and grace. By cultivating mindfulness, self-awareness, acceptance, and compassion, we can learn to flow with the inevitable ups and downs of life, finding peace and purpose even in the midst of difficulty and change. However, integrating these principles into our daily lives is not always a straightforward or easy process. We may have deeply ingrained habits of resistance and reactivity that feel automatic and hard to break. The chaos and demands of everyday life can make it challenging to find the time and space for intentional practice and reflection. External pressures and expectations from others may pull us away from our own inner wisdom and values. Despite these challenges, the rewards of living a life of non-resistance are well worth the effort and commitment required. When we are able to meet life's experiences with an open and undefended heart, we tap into a deep well of inner peace, strength, and creativity that can sustain us through even the toughest of times. We develop greater resilience in the face of stress and adversity, more authentic and fulfilling relationships with others, and a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in all that we do. The key to integrating non-resistance into daily life is to start small and be consistent in our efforts. Rather than trying to overhaul our entire way of being overnight, we can begin by incorporating simple practices and habits that support our intention to live with greater ease and flow. A daily meditation practice, even just a few minutes a day, can be a powerful way to cultivate mindfulness and self-awareness. By taking time each day to sit in stillness and observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, we train our minds to be more present, focused, and resilient in the face of life's challenges. Similarly, setting aside time for regular journaling or self-reflection can help us to process our experiences, gain insight into our patterns and behaviors, and connect with our deeper values and aspirations. By making space to explore our inner world with honesty and compassion, we develop greater self-understanding and self-acceptance, which in turn allows us to show up more fully and authentically in our lives. Incorporating practices of gratitude and appreciation can also be a powerful way to shift our perspective and cultivate a more positive and non-resistant mindset. Taking time each day to reflect on the blessings and joys in our lives, no matter how small, can help to counteract feelings of stress, lack, or dissatisfaction, and remind us of the inherent goodness and abundance that surrounds us. In our relationships and interactions with others, we can practice non-violent communication, active listening, and empathy as a way of building deeper understanding and connection. By approaching conflicts and challenges with curiosity and care, rather than defensiveness or blame, we create space for more authentic and collaborative problem solving. It is also important to be mindful of the external influences and environments that shape our daily experiences, and to make intentional choices about what we allow into our lives. This may involve setting boundaries around our time and energy, saying no to commitments or relationships that do not align with our values, or seeking out supportive communities and resources that inspire and uplift us. At times, integrating non-resistance into daily life may require us to make difficult or uncomfortable changes, such as leaving a toxic work environment, ending a harmful relationship, or facing our own fears and limitations head-on. While these challenges can be daunting, they are also opportunities for profound growth and transformation, as we learn to trust in our own inner guidance and resilience. The practice of non-resistance is a deeply personal and ongoing journey, one that unfolds in unique ways for each individual. What works for one person may not work for another, and what feels authentic and aligned at one stage of life may shift and evolve over time. The key is to approach the journey with patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to experiment and adapt as needed. To trust in the wisdom of our own inner knowing, while also staying open to learning and growth along the way. To find joy and purpose in the process itself. rather than fixating solely on any particular destination or outcome. Living a life of non-resistance is not about achieving some state of perfection or never experiencing difficult emotions or challenges. Rather, it is about developing the skills and resilience to meet those experiences with greater ease, compassion, and grace. To find beauty and meaning in the full spectrum of human experience, and to show up fully and authentically in all that we do. Some practices for integrating non-resistance into daily life include developing a regular practice of mindfulness meditation, deep breathing, or other contemplative exercises that help to soothe the nervous system and allow the mind to settle. Engaging in regular acts of self-care and nourishment, such as exercise, time in nature, creative expression, or healing modalities like massage or yoga. Seeking out supportive relationships and communities that uplift and inspire, and setting boundaries around those that drain or deplete us. Practicing gratitude and appreciation for the small joys and blessings in life, even in the midst of difficulty or challenge. Reflecting regularly on our values, priorities, and deeper sense of purpose, and making intentional choices that align with those aspirations. Embracing a spirit of curiosity, openness, and lifelong learning, staying open to new ideas and perspectives that challenge and expand our worldview. Cultivating a relationship with something greater than ourselves, whether that be through spiritual practice, connection with nature, or service to others. Integrating non-resistance into daily life is a practice of coming home to ourselves again and again, of learning to trust in the inherent wisdom, resilience, and creativity that lies within, and allowing that inner guidance to shape our choices and actions in the world. The more we are able to root ourselves in the principles of non-resistance, the more we naturally begin to show up in the world with greater authenticity, compassion, and ease. We become a force for positive change and healing, not only for ourselves, but for all those whose lives we touch. This is the gift and the invitation of non-resistance. To meet the fullness of life with an open and courageous heart, to dance with the mystery and the wonder of it all, and to find peace and purpose in the midst of it all. May we each find our own unique path to this way of being, and may we support and inspire one another along the way.